It is great to be here, and it's this is a great invitation to kick things off this morning. We're a Nevada-focused gold company. Recently, we just acquired a project which now makes us about as pure play of a silver story as you can get. We trade on the venture exchange under the symbol BRC. We're also on the OTC as well, which we just upgraded our listing down there to the QB. So we should see some bigger volumes move into the stock moving forward. We're definitely going to be making some forward-looking statements today. That's because we've got a lot to look forward to. It's been one hell of a month for us here at Blackrock. As you'll see, our fortunes really took a big turn sometime around mid-July. That's what one drill hole does to a stock when you hit 30 meters of something grading just shy of a kilogram per ton silver equivalent. So as we call it, the $100 million drill hole, because that's about what was added to our market cap on the back of that one result. We also got a financing that we just closed last week from Eric Sprott, who invested $5 million personally into the company of a $7.5 million placement we just did. So to say our fortunes really turned would be an understatement. In March of this year, for example, we were 7 cents. So we hit $1.61 last week. So it's been quite a run. So if I could sum up Blackrock into two things, it would be big grade and big ounces. We're after high grade projects that have multi-million ounce potential. We're a Nevada-focused exploration company. The reason being is the company was built around our chairman, who's a guy named Bill Howell. Bill used to be head of exploration for Placer Dome, the third largest gold mining company on the planet, prior to them getting taken out by Barrick in 2005 for $10 billion. Placer was probably the biggest mover and shaker in Nevada at the time, and Bill's based in Reno. So we've really tried to find the best projects within driving distance of Bill, because I don't want him to have to spend too much time on a plane. Now we've got two projects. Our main one, our flagship, which has just become our flagship, is what's known as Tonopah West. Tonopah West is it's part exploration, but I'd refer to it more as a real estate consolidation than anything. We entered into a deal that was quarterbacked by Ely Gold Royalties in February, and what they did was they brought together multiple independent parcels of claims, which took decades to put together, in what's known as the Tonopah Silver District. Tonopah is a district that had been hiding in plain sight for the better part of 100 years. But if you hopped in a time machine and went back to the early 1900s, it would have easily been one of the most significant mining districts in all of the USA. We also have a second project called Silver Cloud. Don't let the name fool you. That's a gold project. It's actually named after Quicksilver, which is another term for mercury. Silver Cloud was home to one of the largest mercury mines in the Western USA. Happens to be a pretty good pathfinder element. So we're going to be doing some exploration there starting next month too. So we've got two projects, both of which are going to be actively worked. Our value driver is certainly Tonopah, and that's what I'm going to spend the bulk of our time telling you today. But we're also excited to get things moving at Silver Cloud again in a month as well. So this Tonopah West project, it's literally halfway between Las Vegas and Reno. The highway goes right through town, and it is the soul of the Walker Lane district. So I mean, it's an actual town here with hotels, with restaurants, everything you need, you got it, including the casinos, which are effectively right next to where we're drilling right now. So in terms of infrastructure, it doesn't get any better than this. So this is newly consolidated. This has been hiding in plain sight for a better part of 100 years since production shut down. Our property has brought together we're drilling into 3 past producing mines on our property, all in the next month or so. We connected on our first hole into one of these mines called the Victor Shaft, which was 24 meters thick set of veins when production shut down. We told the market we were expecting to hit something 24 meters thick. We ended up delivering on our first hole 29-meter intersect of about a kilogram per ton silver. In addition, we hit 2 other veins which we didn't know were going to be there. One of them was up to 3,600 grams silver equivalent. So ultra high grade stuff with some good gold values. The thing about Tonopah is the fact that it's a silver gold district, but it's 100-to-1 silver gold ratio. That's very, very rare. Normally you have to go to far-flung places like Alaska, the Yukon, Peru, Bolivia, to find something like this halfway between Vegas and Reno is almost too good to be true. And the grades that Tonopah are known for are off the charts. Over 50 years production profile at Tonopah, the average grade produced was over 2 kilograms per ton silver. That was the average. There were some years early on where it was producing at over 10 kilograms per ton silver. Anytime you're referencing precious metals in kilograms per ton, it's a pretty unique project. So we're very excited to be the first group to drill into these historic mines. We're the first group to get our hands on this consolidated property package and bring modern exploration back to it, because as I was saying, these were some of the most significant mines in the U.S. and no one's heard about them in about 100 years. Tonopah was discovered in 1900. It was one of the last district scale discoveries prior to World War I. This was frontier mining sort of stuff, like mules and pickaxes. In fact, the guy on your screen here is the guy who discovered it with his trusty mule. And within about 2 years, the town went from just middle of the Nevada sort of desert to really happening a scene. There were people coming from all over the world to work here. Wyatt Earp came and ran a bar on our property. Charles Schwab was the largest shareholder of the Tonopah Extension Mining Company and personally financed the building of the mill. That's one of the assets that we have. And even in the 1960s, Howard Hughes came up and bought as much of the district as he could consolidate at the time. He had a portion of our set of claims, but not all of them. So we've got the largest consolidated position in this district that anyone's had, and we're excited to really hit the ground running. I mean, one drill hole in the books already. We've just with the upsize financing we just did, we're now able to throw some serious gasoline on the fire. We've got a second drill rig coming to site today, actually, and we're hoping to keep our run of good luck going. So I don't want to bore you with the numbers too much here, but the three the graph sort of stands out. The red line there represents on a gold equivalent basis the ounces produced in Tonopah. It was discovered in 1900, and as you'll see, the ounces produced went up to over 450,000 ounces per year within a period of 10 years. But what's really exciting there is the grades. The blue line there represents the silver equivalent grades realized, and the gold shows the gold equivalent. Over 50-year production profile, the average grade was over 2 kilogram per ton silver, but you'll see it started off much higher. And those are the sorts of grades that we're targeting on this first pass. So as I was saying, this is as much an exploration play as it is a real estate consolidation play. The history of Tonopah was such that obviously the early 1900s were a very turbulent time. You had World War I, then you had the Great Depression. They fixed the price of gold and silver, and effectively it was sort of death by a thousand cuts for this mining district. Within a period of about 3 years, silver prices had gone from $1 down to 35 cents, which effectively, I mean, that's the business of mining. It, despite the grades and despite the fact that lots of these mines are drilling into right now, they did development work along them. They were getting ready to mine further down when silver prices took a turn, and lots of these companies ended up folding up shop or put on care and maintenance, and no one's been back in ever since. So the secret sauce behind what we're doing isn't so much, we don't see it requiring much in the way of exploration luck. It's more just a matter of fact of us being able to have this district consolidated in the first place. You'll see these the town of Tonopah on your right hand side. That's where the discoveries of this silver district were originally made, and this was, and still it would be, one of the largest historic silver districts in all of North America, certainly among the highest grades. But the most important thing is, I mean, it's an east-west trending set of veins. The entire district is 4 miles long east to west. We control more than half of that. That would be the equivalent of me saying that, you know, we've got half of the Golden Triangle or half of Red Lake. We literally control half of this district. It just happens that all of these ounces produced, nearly 2 million ounces of gold and 174 million ounces of silver, were produced in this very, very small piece of real estate. And you know, it's probably probably about the size of downtown Vancouver. You can walk across it, but the amount of ounces and the grades that came through it were off the charts. And it was a matter of getting all these parcels put together. All three colors on your screen there represent individual parcels of claim, that patented claims, which were put together for the first time. And we, upon signing our deal, which was a multi-party deal quarterbacked by Ely, gave us all of this massive position. The other thing I'll tell you about Tonopah is, because it's an east-west trending set of veins, the discoveries were made literally from outcropping veins at surface on the east side of town. They started mining them from surface, and everything followed west. So what happened is, as they were mining the veins out from the east, they followed them along strike and down dip all the way to the west. So the east side was actually mined out fairly early on. You'll see that the production numbers that I was showing you, they really got moving in between 1900 and 1915. Production was going straight up, and then as the east side of town got mined out, it started falling off a cliff. So the west side of the town represents the blue sky. That's what really got us excited about this. Everything in the district seems to want to go west, and that's actually what we're following up on now. So we're doing vein extensions and targeting along strike and down dip of well-known historic veins, which packed a serious punch back in the day. Now, we've got 4 different target areas we're drilling. We've released holes. Well, we released our first hole, which was from the Victor shaft, which is target number 1. Victor was it was a confluence of 2 veins, which were mined down to about 1,800 feet or so. They didn't stop mining there because they ran out of what they thought was ore. They stopped mining because they encountered water. This would have been in around 1920. It's not much water by today's standards, by any means, and it wasn't even much water in historic terms. They brought in electric water pumps. The pumps actually did the job when the electricity would stay on, but unfortunately, more often than not, they'd be a victim of rolling blackouts and brownouts, which isn't what you want in water pump technology. So the mining company, Tonopah Extension Mining Company, ended up just shutting that down, despite the fact that they thought there was much more down dip and along strike. And they went to start mining the second target, which we call BPB, Bermuda, Paymaster, and Denver veins, which represent the very last of the production that the district had seen prior to shutting down due to low metals prices. And they mined this area down to about the 1650 foot level. So that's our second target. So 3 of the 4 targets that you'll see on here actually represent past producing mines that we're just drilling into. We've got so much data to work with. I mean, in terms of historic assays, mining maps, we know where the historic workings are. We're not starting out with a clean sheet of paper, so it's really just mine expansion style drilling. Now we're midway through our initial drill program. Our initial drill program was actually going to be 7,000 meters because of the initial early success and what we're seeing. We've expanded that to 15,000 meters. We've brought in a second drill rig. It just got to site today. It's going to be a core drill rig, which will allow us to go even deeper. And that's going to pick up right where hole 1 left off in the Victor area. We think that's going to go for a few more 100 feet at least. And we're going to use the core to get down as deep as we can. So this is a visual representation of what we're drilling into and what we've modeled to be here. So on the right-hand side, these are 2 of our targets. On the right-hand side, site B there represents where our very first drill hole was. That first drill hole you'll see is targeting an area right where those black dots end off. Those black dots represent the historic workings, meaning that's the area which they mined down to. So, it didn't take a rocket scientist for us to figure out that, the best place to start drilling is right where they left off. That's immediately where we hit that 30-meter hit of a kilogram per ton or so silver equivalent. The other hole down there is what we're drilling right now, and we've completed some other ones, but we're effectively just testing the same set of veins about 200 meters down deeper there, and also trying to get a sense of the true width. So, on these following holes, we'll be able to really start showing volume, grade, and hopefully people can start projecting the ounces. But we expect there to be a lot of joy left over. I mean, anytime you're drilling into something that's 24 meters thick at these grades, it's pretty compelling. So this is our target number 2, which I was telling you about, which is represented the last production in the district. This was owned by the same company that had the Victor shaft, which was where hole 1 was, and this is where they came when they hit the water. They mined this down to the 1650 level. You'll see the black dots sort of at the bottom of the screen there. That's exactly where we're targeting right now with these drill holes. So we're literally picking up where these historic miners left off there. They did a significant amount of development work along on this target. They thought that there was a lot left over, but they just couldn't get around to mining it. So, we see this as quite compelling. We actually think that the second target, in terms of tonnage and potential ounces, could represent up to about 40 to 50% of those ounces for the entire project. So we're very excited to light this thing up with as many drill holes as possible and start getting people excited. But there's a lot going on here, and these veins, we think they're going to pack a punch. I mean, we think these will be somewhere between 1,500 to 2 kilograms per ton, each of them. Some of them, there's one set of veins which we think might be up to over 3 kilograms silver and 30-gram gold, if we're correct. So we'll see. Hopefully we've drilled some of those holes so far, and those results are at the lab. But we've got a lot more drilling to do, and we're now that we've expanded this initial drill program, it's sort of going to be one that I think this initial drill program is never going to stop, to be honest. It's just going to keep going. Our third target is very interesting because this actually represents the grassroots component of our project, and this was a portion of our property package was operated by Core Mining a few years ago. They'd optioned this set of claims from Ely Gold at the royalties at the time, but they didn't have the benefit of having all of the other claims that we have, which represented all of the production. So Core was left to follow up on some independent drill holes down in the 80s on this area, and they hit 2 high-grade veins, both pretty near surface. One was 20 gram per ton gold equivalent. The other was 10 gram per ton gold equivalent. And then they ended up, I guess, undertaking an acquisition that's tied up all of their resources. Saw them end up leaving the district to go work on their new acquisition, which was Northern Empire, and they were now the benefit of picking up where they left off on this new discovery. So 3 of the 4 targets are past producing veins, and one of our targets is a new high-grade discovery made by Core. We've got a lot to deal with here, but it's going to be pretty exciting. Now, the other thing about anytime you've got a project that has a 50-year production profile to it, there's other opportunities, and one of the opportunities was the fact that the historic mine dumps that the miners left for us, they seem to have they've been studied fairly extensively. I mean, it's the only thing that has seen a little bit of modern exploration on our property. Lots of groups over the years have done various scoping studies to look at the metallurgical recoveries and potential ounces and tonnage contained in the waste that the miners left for us. And you'll see that the grades that they were hitting, we've got about 0.4 of a gram gold and 41 grams silver in some of these areas here. So that's the grades of the crushed rock at surface are higher grade than a lot of operating heap leach mines in Nevada already. So, we're looking at some near-term potential development opportunities here. Once again, because this rock's already been extracted and crushed, It could just be as simple as us coming to a deal with someone that wants to come pick it up and enter into some sort of revenue sharing agreement. So we're going to be doing a very small program just to confirm some of the historic work done on here, but there's some very real near-term possibilities which we're currently evaluating. Now, the benefit of a longer presentation like this is you have the opportunity to talk about our other project, which is called Silver Cloud, and this is a high-grade grassroots exploration target. We think there's so much smoke up here that we're really just trying to find the source of all the fire. I mean, it's 45 square kilometers on the most prolific gold mining region, easily in North America, and I think arguably the world at this point. We're right at the top of the Carlin Trend. This is a project that has been operated by Teck, Newmont, and Placer Dome at various times, but it's seen such little exploration, and it's seen rather encouraging results, but no one's really ever had the opportunity to give it a chance, because any time that the majors had it, it was also when gold was tanking and majors weren't getting any love for doing grassroots exploration. This project sat in purgatory since Teck and Placer both made discoveries on it in about 2001, 2002. I was a victim of a really terrible and onerous royalty deal that was attached to it. And the secret sauce behind what Blackrock was able to do was to extinguish these royalties. And now we've got the cleanest deal on this property that anyone's ever had. There's I mean, it's the definition of target rich. It's literally, it's named after the mercury mine that's in the heart of it. And mercury is the mother of all pathfinder elements when you're looking for these low sulfidation epithermal targets. It's honestly like, it's at the northeast tip of the Carlin Trend, and we're directly adjacent to two of the highest grade mines in Nevada. Hollister is directly next door to us, and Hollister, when it was operating, was I believe the second or third highest grade gold mining operation on the planet. Produced a 34 grams per ton head grade for 400,000 ounces. So that vein system points directly at us, and so we're excited to see what happens. In addition to the mercury, the property is covered in sinter, which are silicified, crusty silicified sort of coliform looking things on surface, which also indicate that you're on top of a real big hot spring system. So here's a satellite video image of the property. Now what you'll see there, Newmont Gold Strike, that's probably if it's not the largest gold mine in North America, it's probably a close second. That's crawling distance from our property. Now that's on the Carlin Trend, so it's we're not a Carlin style project. We're this area is right where the Carlin meets the Northern Nevada Rift, so it's two ultra prolific mining regions just colliding on each other, and Silver Cloud represents that, where it I guess the confluence of the two. As I was saying, the Hollister mine is literally it's an east-west trending set of veins, so picture the veins are literally pointing directly at us, and then the Midas mine, which is directly northwest of us, those veins point also directly at us because they're northwest trending. So we've got two of these high-grade vein systems pointing directly at the project. It's been drilled in, it's seen limited exploration of 3 different areas, and in each area there's been gold encountered. So we've got a program lined up. We're going to be doing about 3,500 meters starting in September. We're going to be drilling 3 different areas. All 3 areas, well, 2 of them, where one was drilled by Newmont, which is called the Quiver target in the 1980s. Newmont was looking for an open pitable near surface sort of volcanic hosted oxide deposit. They ended up hitting these veins. They hit grades up to 3 grams per ton, but they weren't interested in veins. Vein hosted systems were out of favor in the 80s, so no one's ever followed up their intercepts up in the Quiver target. But the most exciting target for us is one that's never been drilled, and that's on the northeastern portion of our property, and that's called the Northeast Veins target. No one has ever put a drill hole into this, despite the fact that Hollister veins were literally mined pretty much right up to our property boundary. And on our side of the property last summer, we discovered 8 veins outcropping its surface, and these veins were loaded purple with effectively a mercury. It's geologically there's something happening there, and it's very exciting. So we're excited to do an inaugural round of drilling up there. We think we're going to be doing 10 to 12 holes just in that area And once again, anytime you've got veins outcropping at surface, that gives us a pretty good indication of where we want to be drilling. But if it's anything like it looks like it could be, I mean, we think this could be the western extension of Hollister. So if that's the case, things could get very exciting very quick for us. So we've seen on the limited drilling, we have seen some decent grades. We've got 250 meters of strike delineated in what's called the Northwest Canyon. We're also going to be testing that with another drill hole this year. We think that's going to be easily up to about 350 meters. We know now a lot more than we did at this point last year when we initially drilled it. And we know which what the lithologies look like under surface. So we're going to be able to target this vein, which we've now got a good handle on, and we're going to try and target it right in that ideal sort of host rock. So we're hoping to see the grades improve because we think that we see a lot of similarities in terms of the structural architecture that they see at Midas, which produced at 30 grams per ton, believe up to about 3 million ounces. So if we're right, I mean, this could be the icing on the cake. But for now, the real value driver for the company and what's really got the market clamoring is what we're doing at Tonopah. And I mean, that's on autopilot at this point. We've got 2 drill rigs going. We're drilling, this very low-hanging fruit style mineralization. I mean, anytime that, historic miners do development work on a property, that's a pretty good starting point. So we got a lot going on, but we're very excited to see what Silver Cloud has for us in store, and especially to be the first ones to do some discovery drilling on the Northeast Veins area, because that's something that's almost too good to be true. You don't see outcropping veins undrilled next to some of the most prolific gold mines in the world. These opportunities don't come across your desk all the time. So we're going to not let it slip through our fingers the way that Teck and Placer Dome did. So in a nutshell, Blackrock, 2 projects focused on Nevada. We're the one thing they have in common is they're both high-grade vein systems. Tonopah is, this is as brownfield as it gets. It's not really, there's no guesswork required down there. It's just a matter of us putting in the hard yards, drilling the meters, and then hopefully seeing the grades similar to or better than what they were mining, 100 years ago. Silver Cloud's just going to be, we'll see what that has, but 3,500 meters up there, about 14 holes, I think, is what we're planning. And if we hit anything like they've been encountering at Hollister, then that could be a story that's too good to be true. So, Brandon, with that, I'll turn things over to you, and maybe we can take some questions.
For that. And I like, there was a point in there where you said, I like a presentation like this where I could have more time and talk about other projects as well. That's exactly what we wanted with this. There's a lot of different things, and sometimes getting that information in 5-7 minutes, that's fantastic. I love this forum personally. You can take a deep dive. I think I was asking some people in the chat. I know you can't see the chat as you're presenting. If this is the first time ever hearing about your company, and some of them said yes. So they just got a really good overview of that. So I appreciate you taking the time and doing that for investors. The questions, quite a few came in. So why don't we start right at the top? Jason says, really impressive first results. Any timeline on when further results will be available for the next few sets of assays?
Yeah, great question. We're hoping to get something out. I was hoping to get something out this week, but things were just a little delayed, and that actually ended up working to our benefit because obviously precious metals this week have been a little turbulent, to say the least. So we'll let the market work itself out over the next couple of days here, and I'm hoping we'll be in a position to release a whole bunch next week. And then as this program's ongoing, I'd expect more results probably every 2 to 3 weeks for the duration of the year, to be honest. So, this is,
Very nice. Very nice. I'm sure people love hearing that. This is also Jason. So following up here, can Andrew speak towards the plan for spending the funds raised in the recent financing? I believe he noted a second drill would be brought in. Any other changes to the plans related to the large cash infusion? Great question.
Yeah, so executive bonuses.
Yeah.
We've originally we were planning to do 7,000 meter program at Tonopah. Then we told the market we were going to do 10,000 meters. Now we're doing 15,000 meters. So we've effectively more than doubled it. We've got a second drill that got to site today. This is a core drill rig. So before we were using, and we still are using, the RC drill rig too. The RC rig is great. It's like a shotgun. Like, it gets you where you're going if you've got a big enough target. But the core rig allows you to go deeper, and it's like taking a sniper rifle. So we've got both of these now at our disposal. Yeah, I don't see either leaving anytime soon. In addition, we've now got their fully funded program at Silver Cloud picking up in a month as well. So we'll see a lot of action up there too. Other than that, we, in addition to the financings, and I mean, we also raised $4.5 million in June. So we've raised over, I guess, $12 million in the last 2 months. We've also got warrants coming in the door now too, because I mean, literally, when you have a stock performance like we've had, everything's in the money. So we've seen a constant amount of warrants being exercised every day. So and if all of those do come in, that'll bring in another $6 million or so. So we've got, it's having a former major mining company explorationist at the helm of a junior's both good and bad. It's good because, I mean, this guy's added over 100 million ounces of gold in his career. It's bad because he's also capable of putting together major mining sort of budgets. So he's having no issues finding places to spend it and adding value. And frankly, I'm loving it. So I just want to see, I want to see as much value added to this project in as quick a period of time as possible, just so we know exactly what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, very well said. Appreciate the detailed answer there. Joanne is asking, was it like mining in Nevada? This would be good for especially those who may not be familiar with that area.
Yeah, well, in the gold mining business, I mean, Nevada is effectively Rome, right? All roads lead to Nevada. If it were a country, it would be the 5th or 6th largest gold producing country on the planet. I mean, you're dealing, lots of, especially when you're talking about silver, primary companies. I mean, most of these ones are down in Mexico, where they're in far-flung places of the world or remote places of the world. You can't, at Tonopah, Bill literally goes and picks up pizza for the drillers, and, he can go and take a nap at the motel next door. It's literally everything's just within a walk. Like, I mean, they have a Starbucks there. It's it's pretty good. It's a 3-hour drive between Las Vegas and Reno, and I mean, there's so much going on there that so we're almost spoiled. Like, as jurisdictions go, it doesn't get any better. A lot of mining companies have obviously been affected by COVID too. I know in Mexico and in Peru, many of them were forced to shut down. Nevada, it's deemed an essential business, so no one lost any beats down there. Everything's operating at full capacity. So yeah, I mean, it's a great spot to be in, and obviously rule of law. You don't have to have security. Very favorable mining jurisdiction. I mean, probably the and even on a municipal level, I mean, the town of Tonopah couldn't be more favorable to mining, let alone the state, let alone the federal government. So yeah, we're really blessed to be in a great jurisdiction.
Fantastic. Another question here is, I think you actually were just answering this, so maybe just round out on this. How has the pandemic affected Blackrock, if at all?
Yeah, we modified our spring plans because, I mean, everything was so new and scary, in March and April. We had a big exploration program planned up at Silver Cloud, and we got started with drilling, but we ended up calling that program off just after one hole because looked like things were going to get shut down, and there was no one knew the extent of, and the severity of the illness at that point. So we took a lot of caution at that point. Now things seem to be back to normal in terms of at least on a day-to-day business sort of case. So it hasn't changed any plans for us now, and we're just pushing forward.
Very nice. Another question here is, do you expect to turn this into any mining property, or is this strategy to prove up the discovery and sell it?
Yeah, we've built the company's changed dramatically in the past year. The entire board has been completely replaced and rebuilt by me. And, we built a company with, I guess, the bench strength that is easily capable of doing whatever we want. I mean, every single person on our company has been involved with billion-dollar mining companies before. Right after we acquired Tonopah, we actually got someone who I consider to be one of the best mine builders on the planet. to join our board. His name is David Lang. He was up until recently COO of Equinox Gold. He built Endeavour Mining. I mean, this guy's put so many mines into production. I can't keep count at this point. But really, we're the business was originally designed to be built on the Lassonde curve. We wanted to capture that initial discovery. Adding value and I guess excitement through discovery, and then hopefully passing the reins if and when an offer would come. We're going to have our hands full in drilling this thing, and it's not that we have to. I mean, it's that we get to. So the next year and a half is going to be on autopilot regardless. We have the bench strength to move things forward and march it towards the path of production should we keep encountering results in line with what we're expecting. But from now, I mean, yeah, we're just going to put our head down and keep drilling.
Absolutely. And that actually bleeds right into the next question about talking about what you're expecting. The next question is, do you expect your next drill results to be as spectacular as the last one, or do you think that was possibly an anomaly?
No, I don't think there's an anomaly. This isn't something that we don't have to do too much pontificating here, because I mean, these are past producing mines. We have all of the historic production data. That graph I showed you showed that the grades we hit would actually be lower grade than the average grade produced over 50 years. So I mean, we expect this is an ultra high grade district. We told the market that for that first hole, I mean, we said this is a set of veins that's going to be 24 meters thick, and we hit something about 24 meters thick, and at the exact grades that we were telling them we were expecting to. So everyone else was surprised by it, but we weren't. It would have been frankly more surprising if we didn't get a result like that. It certainly would have been more troubling. So our other targets, yeah, I mean, we're hoping. There's no reason to think that they'll be any different than what they were mining 120 years ago. Yeah, it's. I don't think. Do I expect them to be better? I'm going to be. I'm cautiously optimistic that they will be. I think there's some very low-hanging fruit in terms of what we're building out, and I mean, at those grades, I mean, listen, most things that are economic in Nevada, if you're talking about an underground mine, be like 300 grams per ton, 325 gram per ton silver. If we're hitting, a kilogram, yeah, that we've got a pretty good project here. So we're just excited to keep drilling and seeing what the results come back with.
Yeah, I appreciate that's a hard one to answer, because there's certain things, obviously, as you know, and I know, and many others, you can't say until it's out there. But a lot of good information there. I appreciate the answer nonetheless. This next one, I think you've already answered this slightly before. Some of these questions were coming earlier on, but I'd like to ask it from Tom. When are you going to add more drill rigs? We spoke about this very briefly, I believe.
Yeah, so we've got 2 rigs going, right. So the second drill rig, literally, I think they were setting it up last night, so I think it's spinning as of now. Yeah, we've discussed this, and we think that we could have potential for up to 3-4 rigs going all the time if everything goes according to plan. What we're doing on this initial program is we're drilling a few holes into each 4 of these target areas, and then we're going to wait and see what the assays come back with, so we can modify and figure out exactly where we're going to go and what needs to get recalibrated and such. And then we can start building out a more expansive program from there. But yeah, I mean, realistically, each of these individual target areas could have at least 1 rig going if we're successful. Some of them might have 2 going when you bring in the core to go deeper. So yeah, right now we've gone from 1 to 2. It could very easily go from 2 to 4 on the back of more encouraging results, or if we really want to focus in and blow out each target area, target by target.
Very nice, very nice. From the same investor, Tom, once again, can you tell us who the new director is and why was this person added?
Yeah, so Dan Vickerman, he's really widely respected and connected investment banker he's based over in London. He's Canadian though. Dan's got a hell of a pedigree. He also brought in some serious buying into some of our financings. Dan used to be head of Canaccord London. He used to run Beacon Securities over there. He's raised over $1 billion for mining companies, and he actually just so happens to be on the board of Discovery Metals, which is another high-flying silver stock. They're focused on Mexico. I think they're around 500 million market cap or so, and then that's a really good performer too. So he's just got some really good contacts. He's a steady hand. As our market cap's gone from say 20 million to 150. The conversations and the sorts of investors that we're in conversations with now have changed quite a bit. We've moved from a retail shareholder base to now something that's going to be very largely institutionally held. And it's important to have someone with those connections that can get you in there and figure out not just who wants to invest with you, but who do you want to give investments to? Because there's lots of groups out there who will sell your stock viciously the moment 4-month hold comes off, and there's other ones who will be steady hands. So it was important to get someone with Dan's background too.
Yeah, and that leads really well into another question, more specifically on the financing side. You just recently had a recent your last financing, and I believe Eric Sprott went into that. Please correct me if I'm wrong from going from this question, but it says any other institutional interest or support in the last financing aside from Eric Sprott, potentially even from this new director you're just speaking about as well.
Yeah, we've had a lot of institutional interest. And the last financing we did, so Eric, we raised $7.5 million. Eric put in $5 million personally, and then the rest of that financing went to other institutions. So we split it around a few groups. It was demand certainly exceeded supply because our stock had run so much on the news that Eric was getting involved that we couldn't take any of them, but the exchange wouldn't allow us to take any more money than we originally intended to. So we could have raised a hell of a lot more than we did. But it was all institutional money. And with the previous financing we did the month before, we've got a lot of big name gold funds that bought into that one too. Not enough to the point where they'd have to file reports. So I don't want to necessarily trade off their name, but we got some very, very big institutional orders in that round too, and we're very widely held, not just in North America but European funds. We got some big European gold funds into us, and they were ones that when we did that financing we were $20 million market cap, and one of the funds said, this is you're the smallest company we've ever made an investment in, like they don't do anything under $100 million. I said, well, why are you doing it? And they said, you guys aren't a $20 million company, not much longer. And they were right. They put $1.5 million in it, that 20-cent round, and that's been pretty big. We're now their number one holding. So in terms of dollars and everything. So success brings many fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm sure that investor would enjoy that answer very much so.
Yeah.
Going on with the questions, just want to make sure I don't miss any here. From Victor, is there any antimony in Silver Cloud?
There is, yeah. There's a lot going on there on a geochem basis. I mean, we've got arsenic, mercury, antimony. There's lots going on up there. It lights up like a Christmas tree in certain areas. And as I was saying, there's sinter all over the place, and you crush open some of these rocks and you'll see bright purple. So there's a lot going on there. So it's just seen such little exploration. I mean, 45 square kilometers. Right at the tip of the Carlin Trend, right adjacent to two of the highest grade gold mines, in their heydays on the planet, and both of their vein systems are pointing directly at our property. And I think we inherited 28 drill holes at any real depth, 3 small rounds of drilling by 3 major mining companies in 3 different areas, hit gold in all 3 times, and none of them got to follow up on it. So we see some big opportunity there. It's just, we're excited. We were very limited with funds before, so we had to do very small programs. We can get a lot done with this next round of drilling. We're switching to an RC rig, so it's not going to be an expensive treasure hunt for us up there. We switch from core to RC, so we're going to be able to do twice the meters for half the cost, sort of thing. So we're just going to blow it up, see what the results come back with, and then hopefully get some really good strings to pull out from there and see what happens.
Yeah, fantastic. Moving on here, we've got 2 more questions. We've got about 10 more minutes as well. So by all means, if you've got another question, we probably have a room for maybe 2 more to squeak in if you do have them, but we'll go on with the next question. This is from Tom. And I appreciate this, Tom. You've got quite a few in here. I appreciate that. What were the grades and widths on the outcropping veins at Northeast Vein target at Silver Cloud?
Yeah, so the veins up there, they had low level gold and silver. That's what we expected. We're targeting these same veins about 250 meters below surface. That's where we expect the boiling zone to be. So the fact that the precious metals content at surface isn't necessarily off the charts. That's what you'd expect in one of these things. So the high grade, effectively what happens is you have this geothermal hot spring sort of system with all these fluids bubble up. The precious metals bubble up, they get deposited as they go, and then the lighter elements like mercury, for example, keep rising to the top. Same with the silica, which is at surface too. So so what we're going to use, we use these outcropping veins at surface to give us an indication of where we should be looking, and then we're going to target those same ones a couple hundred meters below. That's also the exact same levels at which Hollister, where the high grade stuff at Hollister was found too. So we expect it to be very similar to what they've got over there. I mean, from a structural standpoint, there's a lot of similarities. I mean, we've got all the gravity and all these airborne data, which show very striking similarities to their setting and ours. And I mean, we're geology doesn't follow clay maps, right? So the fact that they were mining things right up to our property boundary with veins outcropping on our side means, it's worth a peek.
Yeah, absolutely. And then lastly here, from a different Tom this time, how often should we expect, I believe we went over this as well, but I'll ask nonetheless, how often should we expect to see results coming, and when are the next set of results due?
Yeah, so I hope to be in a position to release the next batch for next week. From there, I mean, things are going to get exciting because we're adding drill rigs, right? So, I mean, everything that the pace we've been going so far right now is going to be doubled, and hopefully we'll get more rigs after that too. So I'd expect every 2 to 3 weeks we'd be in a position to release more results. The lab, when you finish a hole, the lab comes and picks it up, but they only do it's every week to 2 weeks they come pick up material. So it's really up to their schedule too, and how backlogged they are. I mean, things are really exploration spending down in Nevada has really picked up significantly this year. So part of it's we do the work and then we put it out, and we're sort of waiting just the same as other people are too. But there should be a good pace of news flow from now here on in.
Absolutely. Well, that concludes the questions on this, Andrew. I appreciate really much. I interview a lot of people over the last several years, and it's nice to see executives where, you seem to be very down to earth and knowledgeable what you're doing. You can see the passion as well, and just, taking the time to answer these questions, to really go in depth in the presentation, all of this, it goes a long way because there are companies out there that don't go that extra mile. It appears that is what you're looking to do with your company. So I appreciate that very much, and appreciate your time as well.
Thanks very much. It was great to be here. And if anyone has any questions for me directly, my email is just andrew@blackrockgoldcorp.com. So Andrew, blackrockgoldcorp.com. And happy to chat with anyone who's got a question.